All right, welcome back. Trans kids and their families in the state of Texas are scoring a legal victory, a minor one, as an appeals court blocks some state-run investigations into families who provide gender-affirming care to their transgender kids. This is all coming in response to new court filings that make some shocking claims, by the way. One mother claiming in a signed declaration that the state's Department of Family and Protective Services pulled her 13-year-old trans child out of a class to interrogate him about his medical history and his gender identity. Imagine that if you were that kid's mother, all without the parent's knowledge. An additional court document alleging DPS's investigation into a 14-year-old who was only experimenting with social transition left the child with, quote, suicidal ideations. These shocking revelations, all a part of a larger suit aimed at ending these investigations, originally brought in part by my next guest and her family, Amber Briggle, who has been on the front lines of this for a while now. Want to take a look back at a portion of my conversation with the family just over a year ago.
When they're passing bills that is going to intentionally make life miserable for children and their families, they're not doing their jobs.
Amber and Adam Briggle are parents of Max and Lulu. Max is a 13-year-old transgender boy, but most of all, he's a kid.
What's the best thing about your mom?
That she's always here.
Here for you?
Yeah. And I can call her and then she'll come.
But here I am.
And she's shown up a lot lately, testifying in front of the Texas state legislature during a hearing to debate a bill that would make providing gender-affirming health care child abuse, a felony in the state of Texas.
They're debating our existence. Taking away the support that a child needs to thrive, that is the child abuse, plain and simple.
And Amber Briggle and her husband Adam are joining me now. I'm here in the studio. So great to have you guys. It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
Purple hair is gone.
Yeah, Max is enormous now.
Right. Enormous.
Yeah.
We're going to see him in a moment as well, but because we have a little surprise coming up. But I saw him and I thought, oh my gosh.
Yeah, he towers over me. He's
it's
3
incredible.
inches taller than me.
Yeah, he's essentially my height. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Coming for me next.
Let's get into the politics of what you guys have been dealing with over the last year or so since I last saw you. Let's talk first about kind of this minor win that happened yesterday. Big deal.
It is a big deal.
Right? But already an appeals file. Talk to me about what happened.
So yesterday, Judge Amy Clark Meacham in Travis County Court issued an injunction basically stopping any investigations into families of transgender children strictly on the basis of the fact that we have trans kids. The state immediately appealed that. I don't really know what happens next because I'm not a lawyer, but the fact that these investigations happened at all is an extreme injustice. It's just a campaign of terror, and it's unconstitutional. It's government overreach, plain and simple.
So I want you guys to walk me through. Adam, I'll start with you, and you guys can kind of toggle back and forth what you've been dealing with, what other families have been dealing with in the state of Texas when it comes to some of these these Child Protective Service investigations that they've launched.
Well, when I got a call from Amber, because she had got a call from CPS saying that we're under investigation, she was on the floor crying, as you might imagine. And I got there, my first thought was, because we'd always thought this might happen, but my first thought was, is it too late to get out of the state? You know, that's kind of the reality that we're living in, is that it feels like we're thinking about, do we need to just upend our lives and leave, you know, now. So she got a call, I went right to her office, and it's been a whirlwind ever since of just trying to protect our basic rights to exist in Texas.
What has that investigation looked like so far? What has happened throughout that time?
Yeah, so I can talk about our experience.
Yes,
a lot of the other,
yours.
I think there's 13 families that have been under investigation at least, and we're the only ones that have gone public.
Yeah.
So I can talk about our experience. I got a call. She said she was with CPS and she was 30 minutes out. I freaked out. I just collapsed to the floor and I thought I was going to keep falling. I just held on the floor. Since that time, so that was on a Thursday. No, that was on a Monday. And on Wednesday, she was in our home on our couch, interrogating each of us individually. So myself first, then Adam, and I can't remember which kid went first, Max or Lulu, but they were alone with that investigator, along with their lawyer, who thankfully Lambda Legal is representing them pro bono.
With their lawyer, i.e. your children's lawyer?
Yeah, yeah. So we have a lawyer, and then the kids have their own separate lawyer. That's right. So we had a lawyer, thanks to the children had a lawyer, thanks to Lambda Legal. She stayed with them. It was absolutely terrifying. Basically, for Governor Abbott to send, an employee of the state. Oh, by the way, like CPS is incredibly understaffed, underfunded. I mean, children are literally dying in the CPS system in the state of Texas, and they're wasting valuable staff resources to come and investigate us, terrorize my children. I mean,
was the investigator, this person interrogating you, apologetic? Were they confrontational? What type of questions did they ask you?
It was really interesting
that you can
because
share.
It seemed like she didn't want to be in this situation, as far as I could tell. And many people in that agency have since left because of this illegal invasive order. And what was really telling is at the very end of the investigation, she turned to both of us and looked at our kids and said, clearly you're doing something right here.
Yeah.
And then left.
Yeah, she said, you have wonderful children. She left, and our case stayed open for many months afterwards. It was,
even though she said this to you?
Yeah, she said that to us in front of our lawyer. Yeah, so it's clearly politically motivated, right? Like, look at the timing of all of this, right? That order came out at the end of February when both AG Paxton and Greg Abbott, the governor, were in a really tight primary race, right? Like, they did this to drive people to the polls during the primary, plain and simple. This is 100% political. In fact, we had not Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton over for dinner in our home 6 years ago.
I remember you telling me this.
6 years ago, and it wasn't child abuse 6 years ago. Now you're in a primary fight, and suddenly it's child abuse.
So what needs to get done, guys?
Well, I was going to say, we're so grateful because when a family's under attack, it really takes a village to defend you. And Amber mentioned Lambda Legal. We also need to mention ACLU. They're out there fighting every day. So one of the things people can do is help support those organizations. We're also really grateful for GLAAD, who helps to kind of amplify and tell our story. So supporting organizations like that is one good thing to do.
And I would say for people watching across the country, I mean, make noise. Like, this attack against transgender children did not start the moment that CPS agent rang our doorbell. This has been years of this, like, steadying attacks, getting worse, getting crueler every single year. And until we as a nation stand up and fight for the most vulnerable, namely trans kids, these attacks are only going to get worse. So whatever it is that you do well, do that for trans kids and amplify their stories.
And by the way, there's now a video game.
Yeah, I heard about that. Isn't that
based
cool?
on the experiences that you and your family have been through and helping fight back?
Right. So one of the things a lot of people don't realize is when you're raising a trans child, you need to have a safe folder which kind of documents that your kid's being well cared for, because you never know when the state might come knocking on your door. And I guess this video game tries to immerse people in that reality and give them a sense of what that's like.
Yeah. We have a little surprise for Adam, your mom, right?
Yes,
because it is her birthday today.
Hey,
Lulu and Max. So I'm getting up, guys, too, by the way. I want to come over to them because I want to show everybody just how tall, by the way, Max has gotten.
And
I'm 5'10" in heels, so I'm about 6'1" right now.
Right, yeah.
So you're like 5'9".
Rude. Yeah.
So should we say happy birthday, Oma? Right?
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday, Oma. We
Thank
love
you guys so much.
Thanks,
Thank you guys so much.
Yasmin.
And by the way, this family is so incredible. Adam donating a kidney to a good friend of his. He's going to be away from his family for a little bit, but we know you're going to be safe and healthy, and your friend is super appreciative of everything that you're doing. Thank you guys. Thanks for sharing your story and being so brave. Thank you guys. All right, we'll be right back, everybody.